Picture this, it's 6:42 a.m. on a quiet Tuesday. And the self-appointed queen of our suburban HOA is already standing inside my locked pool gate. Phone in one hand, the other jabbing toward me like I'm public enemy number one. Yes. Send officers immediately, he's denying the community access to shared amenities, she shrieks into the phone. Voice dripping with that fake sweet concern she always uses right before she tries to ruin someone's life. She thought she'd finally won. What she didn't know was that I'd been waiting months for this exact moment. Cameras rolling. Files ready. And zero patience left. My name's Ryan Hale. I'm a freelance graphic designer who moved out here to the edges of suburban Ohio 2 years ago looking for one simple thing: peace. After a nightmare in my last apartment complex, where a group of neighbors doxed me online and painted me as the difficult loner just because I asked them to stop blasting music at 2 a.m., I learned a valuable lesson. Document everything. Trust no one who smiles too wide while holding a clipboard. So when this property popped up, a modest ranch-style house on a weirdly shaped lot that sat just outside the HOA boundary thanks to an old grandfather clause and a funky easement, I paid cash and never looked back. I poured every spare dollar and weekend into that backyard. The cracked concrete rectangle became a sleek gunite lap pool with natural stone coping, a shaded pergola, and tall privacy hedges that actually blocked the nosy eyes from the street. It wasn't some flashy status symbol. It was my sanctuary, morning laps to clear my head. Evening floats with a book. The kind of quiet luxury I'd earned after years of grinding deadlines and soul-crushing open office drama. The fence was 6 feet. Solid cedar. With a keyed gate. Private. Mine. Or at least it was supposed to be. Enter Karen Whitaker, president of Willow Creek HOA. Clipboard carrier. And professional martyr for community standards. The first time she showed up, I was still unloading boxes. She marched down my driveway in pressed khakis and a pastel polo. Heels clicking like tiny gavels. Hi there. New neighbor. I'm Karen, president of the Homeowners Association. Just wanted to drop by and make sure you're aware of our guidelines before you make any permanent changes back there. I wiped sweat off my forehead, smiled politely, and said the sentence that would become my mantra: appreciate it. But I'm not actually part of the HOA. Property's outside the boundary. She tilted her head, that brittle smile never wavering. Oh. Bless your heart. Maps can be outdated. You know. We've been discussing expanding coverage to this side of the street. For consistency. She handed me a welcome packet thicker than a phone book. We'll schedule a compliance review once you're settled. I took the packet. I didn't argue. I just started recording every single interaction from that day forward. What followed was death by 1,000 petty cuts. First came the violation notices, tucked under my windshield wiper like parking tickets from hell. Non-compliant fence height obstructing community sightlines. Never mind that my fence was entirely on my land and the HOA had zero jurisdiction. Then unauthorized pool installation without architectural approval. Then excessive outdoor lighting disrupting neighborhood aesthetics, even though I used soft, downward-facing LEDs. I ignored them. Quietly. Patiently. The way you ignore a mosquito until it won't stop buzzing in your ear. Then the rumors started. I'd catch neighbors giving me tight, nervous smiles at the mailbox. Moms crossing the street when I walked my dog. One afternoon I overheard 2 women at the community mailbox whispering, "That's the guy Karen warned us about, keeps to himself too much. She says his pool chemicals are questionable." Questionable. Because apparently wanting a private pool in your own backyard makes you a public health hazard. Karen was building her narrative brick by brick. I was antisocial, uncooperative, A threat to the precious community harmony she spent every board meeting preaching about. In the HOA group chat, which I was never invited to but a sympathetic neighbor started forwarding me, she posted things like, "Some residents continue to resist basic standards. We must stay vigilant for the sake of our children and property values." She never named me outright at first. She didn't have to. Everyone knew who some residents was. The trespassing started small. I'd come out in the morning and find fresh footprints in the mulch bed along the back fence. Tools moved half an inch from where I left them. Then one dawn I checked the security feed and there she was, Karen Whitaker herself. 6:17 a.m. Clipboard in hand. Casually strolling along my property line like it was a public park. She leaned over the fence, took photos of my pool, and muttered to herself, "This is far too nice to be wasted on one person. The community deserves access." I watched that clip at least 10 times. The sheer audacity was almost impressive. A week later she got bolder. I caught her on camera climbing the side gate, which I'd left unlocked for a delivery that never came, and walking straight into the pool enclosure. She tested the water with her hand, wrote something down, and actually said out loud, "Perfect temperature. Families could really enjoy this." That night I upgraded the cameras and added audio. I also painted the property stakes bright orange and installed a private property, no trespassing sign the size of a billboard. None of it slowed her down. The campaign went nuclear when she started weaponizing the neighbors. She organized a safety walk and invited half the block to observe potential hazards on my property. A few actually showed up at my gate one Saturday, looking awkward as hell while Karen stood there beaming like a game show host. "Ryan, we just want to do a quick visual inspection of the pool area," she said in that syrupy voice. "For liability reasons. You understand." I stood on my side of the gate, arms crossed. "I don't." Because again, not in the HOA. "And you're all standing on my property line." One of the neighbors, a decent guy named Marcus, shifted uncomfortably. "Karen, maybe we should just..." She cut him off with a laugh that sounded like breaking glass. "Oh. Marcus. Always the peacemaker. But rules are rules. And we can't have one homeowner thinking he's above the rest of us. It sets a bad precedent." I looked her dead in the eye. "The only precedent being set is you repeatedly trespassing on private land. I have it all on video. By the way." Her smile flickered for half a second. Then she doubled down. "Video can be edited. And if you're going to be difficult about community access." That was the moment she said the quiet part loud, "This pool should be available to everyone. It's only fair." I almost laughed. Almost. The breaking point came exactly like the beginning, early morning. Her inside my gate again. This time she'd brought reinforcements, 2 other board members and a couple of wide-eyed neighbors she'd clearly pressured into coming. She'd somehow jimmied the side gate, I later found scratches, and was standing poolside. Phone already to her ear. "Yes. He's being hostile and refusing entry. We fear for our safety. Send someone now." I stepped out onto the deck. Calm as still water. "You have 30 seconds to get off my property before I add another count of trespassing to the list." Karen spun around, face flushed with that beautiful mix of rage and panic. "You see? Aggressive. Exactly what I've been saying." The cops arrived fast, lights flashing down the quiet street, drawing every curtain open on the block. 2 officers got out, hands on belts, scanning the scene. Karen immediately launched into her Oscar-worthy performance. "Officer, this man has been a problem since he moved in. He's hostile. He's non-compliant. And now he's physically blocking us from performing a necessary safety inspection of what should be a shared community amenity. One of the cops looked at the locked gate. Then at Karen standing clearly inside the enclosure. "Ma'am, how exactly did you get in there?" She waved it off. The gate was open. Community access. I pulled out my phone. Already queued up. "Actually, officers, I'd like you to see something." I played the footage. First, the clip of her climbing the fence 2 weeks earlier. Then the one of her testing my pool water and declaring it perfect for families. Then the time-stamped stills of her multiple unauthorized visits. Finally, I handed over the printed county map clearly showing my property outside HOA boundaries. Plus the folder with every violation notice. Every group chat screenshot. Every whispered rumor she'd seeded. The temperature on my driveway dropped about 20 degrees. Karen's face went from righteous fury to pure, unfiltered panic in real time. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish. The clipboard actually slipped from her fingers and clattered on the concrete. That's been doctored," she sputtered. "I was only trying to protect the neighborhood. For the children." A neighbor in the growing crowd, a mom who'd been avoiding me for months, actually snorted. "Karen, you don't even have kids living with you." The first officer looked at the map. Then at her. "Ma'am, this property is not under HOA authority. You've been trespassing." Repeatedly. And this 911 call appears to have been made under false pretenses. Karen's voice climbed into dog whistle territory. "I am the president. I have been keeping this street safe for years. You can't do this to me." The second officer, who'd been quietly reviewing the videos, finally spoke. "Actually, ma'am, we can. And we are." By the time the sun was fully up, half the neighborhood was standing on the sidewalk watching Karen Whitaker get escorted to the patrol car for further questioning. Not arrested, yet, but the look on her face when the cuffs came out for the walk to the vehicle was something I'll treasure forever. Pure, delicious disbelief. The board called an emergency meeting that same night. By morning, the group chat exploded with the news: Karen Whitaker had been removed as president effective immediately. Pending investigation into multiple code violations, misuse of authority, and yes, actual criminal trespass and false reporting charges. One by one, neighbors started showing up at my door. Awkward apologies. Homemade cookies. The vice president, a quiet accountant named Tom, looked like he'd aged 10 years. We let her run wild. "I'm sorry, Ryan. We should have checked the boundaries ourselves." I accepted the apologies. Not because I'm a saint, but because watching Karen's little empire crumble was satisfaction enough. 3 months later, the backyard is quieter than ever. The new HOA leadership rewrote the bylaws with actual checks and balances. My pool is still private. Still perfect. And I swim every single morning without looking over my shoulder. Sometimes I sit on the deck with a coffee and just smile at how ridiculous it all was. A grown woman risked jail time because she couldn't stand the idea that one person on the block had something nice that wasn't subject to her approval. So here's the question I want you to answer honestly in the comments. Was Karen just a passionate community leader trying to keep things fair and consistent, or was she a textbook power-tripping bully who finally got exactly what she deserved when someone refused to bow? Right or wrong, who was really the problem here? Drop your thoughts. I read every single one.